in JSON file also there is a key value pairing. Okay, it starts with the curly brackets, and within that there is a key and a value. Always remember that the key is also in double quotes. Okay, whereas in JavaScript objects, the key will not be in quotes. It will be something like you will write a simple. The same thing can be written in JavaScript as like this: const. Let's say. Fruit obj is equal to, then you will have a open and close brackets, and inside that you put this object, that a key value pairing, and they will contain what? Just they'll contain a fruit colon, and then there will be this one, then there is a size, and then there will be this one. Okay, this is how a typical object, this is nothing but this is a JavaScript object. Okay, this is how it will be represented. If you observe, it is the same way the JSON file is also represented. How the JSON file is represented? It is open and close the curly bracket, and within that there is a key and the value, key value. So the key is also written in double quotes, whereas in JavaScript object, the key is not written in quotes. It is just written as a name, and this is a value. Because it is a string, it is written in a quotes. If it is a number, right, had it been price, okay, price is equal to, this would have been written like 25 without any quotes, because this is a number data type. All right, so this is what the JSON file would look like ideally. All right, JSON.org, right? You enter this website. Okay, now it has got certain structures and all that it will define. I mean, the same thing that we have noted and studied so far. Okay, it's the same thing. What we are trying to say is a structure into two structures. One is collection of values and the ordered list of values, which is represented by arrays. There are two JavaScript built-in functions for using JSON. Like we are currently working on JavaScript as a programming language, right? So JavaScript in itself has got built-in functions for reading and converting JSON files. What is that? JSON.parse. This is one built-in method or function. What this does, it is used for converting the JSON strings into JavaScript objects. Okay, and then there is a JSON.stringify for converting an object into a JSON string. Okay, both of them. Okay, one is converting the JSON string into a object. Now this is called a JSON string. We'll come to that soon, why this is. For converting JSON string into an object, JavaScript object, and the other way, for converting the JavaScript object into the JSON string, we use stringify, parse and stringify. Let's take these two examples. Now, let's say this is a simple JavaScript file. Let's see. Taking this, let me go here and let me open the file. Okay. Now, what is this I'm doing? What I'm trying to do here is constant fruit JSON, and this is if you observe only what I have selected, this is nothing but a JSON file. What it contains? It contains a key and the value. This is a key and the value, and everything is put within the single quotes or double quotes, which means this is a JSON string. So the JSON file itself, whatever we saw here, right? The JSON file, this entire content is written in a string. This is called a JSON string, which means the entire JSON file is put into a single quotes. Now I am assigning that to a variable called fruit string. Now if you see, what is this? If you see the type of, what this will give, this will say it is a string. So I have created a JSON string. So entire JSON file put into a quotes or double quotes will make this a JSON string. Now I want to convert this into a JavaScript object. For that, I need to use what? I need to use a JavaScript built-in function called JSON.parse. So for converting a JSON string into a JavaScript object, let's do that. What I'll do, let's say here. Now I'll say const. Let me take that itself. Whatever is coded here. Let's say this one. So what I'm trying to do, a const variable where I'm trying to use is JSON.parse and this particular variable that I have created. So I'm putting this entire JSON string and passing that as an argument to JSON.parse function. Okay, and then that is being assigned to a variable. Let's say this one. Just let's see what this contains now. If I do that, this entire string, JSON string, is converted into a JavaScript objects. Okay, so now this particular JSON string, if you observe, this is a key and value, key value, key value. This is an object now. So this is a JavaScript objects. Uh, this is the usage of this function JSON.parse. Okay, now the same way, what I'll do, I'll just try to put that and assign the value to it. Let's say this is the one, right? And I'll assign the value. So now JS object, what it will contain, this will be, if you see the type of JS object, this will be a object. Okay. So we saw there is a JSON string. The entire JSON file is put into a quotes JSON string, and that JSON string should be converted into a JavaScript object. For that, we will use a function called JSON.parse and pass the entire JSON string as an argument, and that will convert that into a object. Let's understand the other way. Now that we have got two things, right? One is JSON.object. If we see this JSON.object, this is nothing but an object file. Now this object file, JSON JavaScript object file, we want to convert it into a JSON a string. How do we do that? For that, we need to use a function, again, JavaScript built-in function, that is called JSON.stringify, and in that we are going to pass this JavaScript object. The moment I pass that, if you see, this entire object that is been here, this key value pairing has been stringified, that is converted into a JSON string. And if you see, let's say if I assign this to some value, let's say obj JSON, or for that matter, str JSON, string JSON, let's say. And if I see string JSON, what is the type of for this? It will be string. Okay, make sense? What this did? JSON.stringify, inside that function, I'm passing the argument, which is nothing but the JavaScript object. This entire JavaScript object. The moment I pass that, it is converted into a string. That is the reason you see that into a single quotes here. Okay, now if I store that in a variable, and if I see the type of, you will get a string. Okay, so we saw both the ways. One, JSON.parse, it will convert what? JSON string into a JavaScript object. And if you want to convert the JavaScript object into a JSON string, we use JSON.stringify function. So what is this done here in this JSON.parse stringify.html? It has got a header. Let's say this is heading 1, header 1 and header 1. Okay, h1 heading, which says parsing JSON file, parsing slash, let's say stringify JSON file. All right. Now there are three paragraphs, paragraph 1, 2, and 3, and they have given an ID of paragraph 1, 2, and 3. Okay, now let's see what this does. Now in the JavaScript, let's go here. I have defined a constant called fruit JSON, and I have passed the entire JSON file in a string format. The same JSON file that we saw here. This entire JSON file is passed as a string here. And now parsing the JSON file to a JavaScript object. So what I did, I created a JavaScript object which says JSON.parse, and I'm passing this entire variable, JSON string variable, to this function as an argument. And what this will do, this will become an object now. So get document.get element by ID para1 for this one. The inner text has been modified. So what is this inner text I'm giving? I'm giving a backtick here. So I'm using JSON file dot fruit, which means I'm using this key, because this has been converted into a object, right? So how do I refer the value? Object name dot key name. So the object name is JSON.object dot key. Key is a fruit here. Then this will be telling me what? This value will be apple. Okay, apple is medium, size is medium in size, and JSON.color is red in color. This will be the output of the very first paragraph. Okay, and let's see that. If you see the output, now what is this? Apple is medium in size and red in color because of this statement. All right, and then I'm putting that into console.log just to see what that object is, and it is color red, fruit apple, and size medium, which is done by JSON.parse. This is the object, JS object. All right, if you see JS object, it is the same object. Okay, it's the same object. All right, now the next thing what I'm trying to do here, convert a JavaScript object into a string by using JSON.stringify. So I'm using the new, creating a new fruit JSON and stringify. I'm passing this JavaScript object. So what this will be, I'm assigning for the paragraph 2, the inner text will be new fruit JSON. So entire the stringified JSON will be shown here in the paragraph 2. Let's see that. Yeah, this is what it will be. Fruit apple, size medium, color red. Okay, this is a JSON file format. All right, and if you want to see whether this is a valid format or not, you can go ahead to this site I said, right? JSON formatter. Just go ahead and paste your code here and process it, and you will see it is valid. Okay, then it will give you a right structured format. Okay, just it will rearrange that into a proper format and show you. So this is a valid JSON file. All right, so what you have seen now is, this is an example to demonstrate your JSON.parse, and this is an example to demonstrate your JSON.stringify. And the very last, right? This is interesting. Again, what is being done here? We said two things, right, about JSON. If you remember, JSON can be structured, built on two structures. One is collection of name and value pairs. Another is ordered list of values. You can also put that. Ordered list of values is nothing but arrays. So now for that, I'm taking array as JSON file. Let's say a football team. Let's say this is a football team. And if you observe this, this is an array. An array has been put into a string format. So this entire thing is a string now rather than array. So if you see only the selected area that I have selected, this looks like a array with values Arsenal, Man City, and Liverpool and Barcelona. Okay, and they have put into a single quotes, which means this entire thing will become a string now. String is assigned to a football team, and this football team is passed as a string, is passed as an argument to JSON.parse, and this is a teams array. Now what this teams array will look like, this teams array will actually be an array. Okay, so earlier what we saw, JSON.parse, the JSON string was converted into a JSON object. But now when you pass that as an array, the array string, earlier it was JSON string, here it is an array string. Okay, this is an array string. Okay, so the array string is passed, and that is passed and creating a array object, which is JavaScript array. If you observe this, let's say, let's take this, let's clear it. Okay, so it has been already created, it seems. Let's go ahead and fetch that. Yeah, now this is nothing but type of, if you observe, this is a string. Okay, string which is of containing a array. Now if I say JSON dot parse, and if I pass this value within this, what this will create, this will create me an array with index 0, 1, 2, 3. So this would be an array with the values, with all the values as strings. Okay, and the length of an array is 4. All right, did you guys understand the difference? The JSON string is passed, and you get a JSON JavaScript object, where the array string is passed as an argument. It will be converted as a JavaScript array. Understood, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. And the other way is also the same. Like you can go ahead and say uh, JSON dot stringify, and now you are going to go ahead and pass this entire thing. Now what this will do, this will convert that into a string within a single quotes. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So now this is what it will do. Now what this will the para 3 will print get element by id. This is a dom selector. I'm selecting this by an identifier called paragraph 3. Okay, and then I'm modifying the inner html of that para tag to this content. Okay, what is this? Team array of 0, which means 0 is the first index, right? This is the 0th index, which means in this array the index 0 will be arsenal. Okay, because this is a team that we have created, right? It's an array, javascript array. So 0 is arsenal, then there is a semicolon, then concatenated with a team array of 1 index, which is man city, and plus is concatenation, then there will be a semicolon, so then there is concatenated with the array of index 2, which is liverpool, then concatenation semicolon, and then this semicolon is concatenated with the array of 3, which is Barcelona. So that is the reason you will see this output: Arsenal semicolon, Man City semicolon, Liverpool semicolon, Barcelona. In JavaScript, right, JSON values must be one of the following data types. It can be a string, it can be a number, it can be an object, array, boolean, null, function, date, and undefined. But this, right, up to null, what you see, it is common for all the programming languages, not only JavaScript. Because JSON, you said, as I said earlier, it is programming language independent, which means you can use JSON in any programming language. Okay. For all the programming languages, the allowed data types are string, number, object, array, boolean, and null. That's it. Only 6 of them. But for JavaScript, the additional 3 are added, like function, date, and undefined can also be a valid data type for the JSON values. Okay, what are these JSON values? In our example, we saw JSON values are the ones which are paired with the key value pairing, right? JSON values are this one: apple, medium, red. Okay, I can go ahead and create another one. Let's say price. Okay, and comma price. Price can be like 120. This is fine. This is absolutely fine. Now, this is a string, this is a string, this is a string, whereas this is a number data type. So what I'm trying to say is, in a JSON file, the values of the keys can be of these data types. Okay, they can be of any of these data types in JavaScript. In JavaScript. Understood, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And now the file type of JSON is, as I said, it is always .json, and MIME type is application slash JSON. Whenever we use them in, whenever there is a MIME requirement is there, you need to specify just application slash JSON. Like we say application dot something something, right? PDF or anything. In the same way, it is application slash JSON. Now, here is some differences that you need to observe between the JSON and XML. Okay, these are the top 2 data interchange formats that is used in the World Wide Web or the web development, and predominantly, and the highest usage is for JSON. Okay, next comes the XML. So now, what is the difference between them? Now let's see. JSON does not use the end tag, whereas XML has the end tag. That is what this means. Like if you observe, now let's say here in XML, for every open node there is a closing. For every open tag there is a closing tag, right? But JSON does not need an end tag or anything like that. Okay, it's just a key value pairing. That's it. All right, and JSON is a shorter and quicker version to read and write. That is understood, because instead of writing all these nodes and creating nodes and open and close, you can just put key value pairing within the curly brackets. That will be end of it. Okay. And then JSON can use arrays, whereas XML cannot. As you saw, JSON.parse, you can also use a string array and convert that again into back to a JavaScript array. But in XML, you cannot use that. Okay, and JSON can be passed by a standard JavaScript function, like we used JSON.parse or JSON.stringify. Those are standard JavaScript functions, whereas XML has to be passed using an XML parser. That is again another set of coding requirement that will be needed, how to parse the XML. But here there is simple function where you pass the argument, that's it, it will be taken care. So it is much shorter, quicker, simpler JSON, and it is very easy to read. I mean, it's so easy. Key value, key value, key value. That's it. Whereas for Ajax application, right, JSON is faster and easier than XML. So the JSON and XML, the more they are used is in Ajax applications, which is whenever you want to run a function in asynchronously. That is when you have Ajax application where you don't have to reload again your web page, just display the content without reloading it and interact with the server data. All that can be made possible behind the scene through Ajax, right? So that is the reason. In that, if you use the JSON format, right, that will be more faster and easier. So mind you that Ajax application can use either JSON or XML. Both can be used. Yesterday we saw XML, and today we'll see how that can be done through JSON as well. Okay, we'll see that now. So how do you fetch the JSON file with XHR? This is where Ajax application will come into picture. Let's take a quiz example. Okay, I'll show you a simple file which will be a JSON file in a quiz format. Where is that? Quiz.json. Okay, so now if you observe this, okay, what it contains a multiple levels in this. Okay, the first one is a key called quiz contains this entire value. Okay, now understand this value is of what type? Is of a object type. Okay, object data type. So the quiz contains a value which is object. Again, this object has got what? Another key which is called sports, and sports again is the value is of a object data type. Okay, this entire thing is an object. Again, this contains a q1 which is quiz 1, and this value, a key and value is again a data type. The data type is object. So now quiz 1 contains question, options and answers. Okay, three keys: questions, options and answer. Question is a string because it is put in a double quotes. This is a string data type. And then options is an array. Okay, because it is a square bracket, right? This is an array. We have an array contains the values which are string values, and array elements are strings here. And the third is answer, is again another key which is a string data type. Okay, now if I go ahead and copy this and show you in a text, I mean JavaScript formatter, right? If you see, you will see the different levels. If I process it, yeah, if you see here what it contains, if I just minimize this and show you what this option contains now. So there is a quiz contains two things. One is sports and maths. If I go ahead and see, and this is a data type of object, and if I expand that object, you will get again a key value pairing, key and the value, key and the value, and this is a key and this is a value. All right, this is entire thing is a value. Now at the same time, if I go ahead and observe the first one, very first one, which is a q1 is a key and this is an object data type, and in that itself there is this question is a key and the value is the string. Okay, then there is a key, the value is a array. Okay, this is an array, and then there is a key and then this value is a string. So what you observe here is a string value pairing, and this is a little bit more complex JSON file like the one we saw in the fruit case, apple case, right? So this is like a quiz which has got two major sections, which is sports and maths. In sports you have three questions, where one is saying what is which one is not a football team in the Premier League. So the answer, we have these options, and the answer is Barcelona. In the same way, which country has won the FIFA World Cup in the year 2010? There are four options, and the answer is Spain. And then there is a third question: which country hosted the FIFA World Cup in the year 2022? There are four options. The answer is Qatar. So now let's go ahead and see how to play around with this JSON file and send it to behind the server and get that using XHR. Okay, function that we object that we saw yesterday while dealing with XML file. Now today we'll see how that can be done and achieved using JSON file. As you already know, XHR or XML HTTP request object. This is the object that is used basically to send the data or receive the data from the server. That is interaction with the server, web server. And that too without even refreshing or reloading the web page. That is how we do it. Now, before we understand, let's go ahead and see the skeleton of this web page. What it contains? It contains simple header. There is a paragraph 1, there is a paragraph 2. Both the paragraphs are empty because this is where we want to push something in this paragraph using DOM manipulation. We will insert the inner HTML here between this and this. And then there is a button with an ID called btn, and it says show answer. And then there is a span tag with the ID called span1. Now, without the script, let's see what the output would look like. Yeah, it is simple. What it contains: h1 tag, which is saying what? Demo, fetching the JSON file with XHR. And then there is a paragraph 1 and 2, both have no contents. Okay, so it is empty. So that is not showing up anything. Had it been anything here, it would have it would have been shown here. Okay, but we have added nothing here. All right, because we want to add something through JavaScript, through DOM manipulation, like get element by ID, and then use inner HTML to push some values. Let's see what we'll do in the JavaScript. But there is a button which says a caption called show answer, which is showing here, show answer. And then span is also empty. Let's now go ahead and see what the JavaScript is doing. The very first what we'll do is const will declare, will create a new instance of this particular XML HTTP request. That is nothing but HTTP req. We have created that new variable. Now on that variable we are using a property called onload. Okay, when what it means: whenever a page is loaded, okay, or loaded is whenever you land on the page, okay, by clicking the URL or by clicking the hyperlink, you land on the page. Okay, then whenever the page is loaded, then I am going to call this function. What is this function? It starts from here, it ends here. Okay, it starts here and it ends here. Okay, now what is this function doing? The very first thing is I am parsing. What is that I'm parsing? I'm parsing the JSON file. So response text. What is this response text? Response text is a property that I am getting it from these two. What is this? HTTP request dot open. It will send a request to the server, which is a get request through the get method. I am passing this file called quiz.json. What is this quiz.json? This is the file quiz.json. That is the URL that I am using. Quiz.json is being passed to the server to open this file. Okay, open this file. And whatever the response I get from the server, that response is in the text format that I am storing it, which what I'm saying to the server: send this file, open this file and send it to the server, and server responds with all the text that is there in this, the entire content of this file. So the entire content of this file is sent to what? To this response text. If I go ahead and see what this contains, console.log will contain JS object. What it contains? It contains the entire JavaScript file in a the JSON file in a JavaScript object format. Okay, this is a object format. Why is that in object format? Because I am using JSON.parse. Okay, so the entire response text that I received from the server, which is stored in this file, which is this file, that file is parsed, JSON.parse, and stored into a JavaScript object, then this will be nothing but our JavaScript object file, which is this one, which will be quiz, which contains math and these values. This is math and these objects, and then individually they contains the details. Okay, at least understood till this, guys, what we have done.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now let's go ahead and understand document dot get element by id, which is paragraph 1, which is I'm getting it from this paragraph, the element I'm selecting because I want to add something here. Now let's see what I'm trying to add. So the inner html has been getting modified. The value of that will be equal to this one. What is this one? This is whenever we use dot 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 dot, right, in JavaScript, this is called chaining, chain, or that, or chaining of these properties or objects. So now what it contains is JavaScript object dot dot. Now this is the first JavaScript object dot quiz dot sports. In that I'm talking about sports, and then q1. This is the q1, and then I'm getting the question. What is that question? The question is this part. So this particular question I am trying to print onto the paragraph 1. That is the reason you will see this one. Which one is not a football team in Premier League? This particular paragraph is getting from this value, from the JavaScript object. First is the object name, dot key, dot key, dot key, and dot key within that key. Okay. So JavaScript object dot, there is a key. Within that key, there is another key. Within that key, there is another key. Then there is another key called question. And whenever I give this question, usually this entire thing will be the answer of it, which is the actual value of it. So the value of that question is nothing but which one is not a football team in the Premier League. And that is the reason the paragraph 1 is printing this value. This one you understood, guys? This particular statement?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, let's go to the paragraph 2 now. So get element by ID, paragraph 2. Here's something we are going to add, inner HTML. Let's see what is that we are going to add. Paragraph 2, inner HTML. And this is a backtick characters. So this is a backtick start and ends here. Inside that, I'm putting a break line, BR, BR, BR. Now, let's see the very first option, one dot. Then there is a string literal or a template literal, we call it as, right? So JavaScript object dot quiz dot sports dot q1 dot option. Okay. Now I am talking about this one, option, because option is an array. So whenever there is an array, then there will be an index. Okay. So this option, the first index of 0 will be Arsenal. Then there is a Manchester City, then Liverpool, then Barcelona. That is the reason you are seeing these values here. These are the options. Okay, so the options are, the first one is Arsenal, the second one is Man City, which is of index 1, this one, and then there is a index 2, which is nothing but Liverpool. Then there is an index 3, which is for Barcelona. Everything would be put in a new line. That is the reason they are all appearing one below the other rather than next to each other. Okay, understood the para 2?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now that we achieved two things, what we achieved, these blank paragraphs have been filled or modified. We are modifying the DOM by getting the data from the JSON file, which is stored in the server, to put that value onto the client, which is nothing but web browser. So that is the reason we are seeing that on the web browser now. Now let's go ahead and see what will happen when I click this button. Whenever I click this button, I want to put the answer in the span. Let's see what I'm doing in the third part, this part. So here there is a span text that I've created, document dot get element by ID span 1, which is I'm selecting this element. So span element is stored here, and then there is a button that I have to, get element by ID called button, which is this button. Okay, I'm getting that and storing the element here, button element. Now button dot add event listener. I'm calling this particular method called add event listener. And the what event I'm listening to? Click. So whenever the button element is clicked, then I'm calling this function. This particular function is called. What this function is doing? Open the curly brackets. Button dot hidden, which means first, whenever the click is happening, I need to hide that button. So hide that button to true. All right. And then span text, which is this element, dot inner HTML. So the inner HTML of this span text, I need to add something here. What I'm trying to add here, I'm trying to put this particular template or string literal. What is it saying? Correct answer is option 4, which is nothing but object.quiz.sports.answer, which is nothing but this value. Object.quiz.sports.q1.answer, which is this one will be Barcelona. Okay. So the answer is put, and that too in a strong, which is bold, in bold letters. Okay. Let's see that option. So this is when the page is loaded now. On load, this is all is happening. Okay. Because on load, we did that, right? On load, the entire function would be called. You will be calling the server, getting that information, response text back, then parsing that response text and trying to fill the web page. And then till this everything has happened. For this to happen, we need to do certain event there. That is click. So the moment I click show answer, let's see what happens. First, you need to observe that is whenever I click, the button should be hidden. Okay, button dot hidden is true, and immediately you need to show the span text with the inner text XML as correct answer is option 4, that is Barcelona, which would be in bold letters. Okay, let's see that. So the correct answer is option 4 and Barcelona is in bold. You're seeing this in indigo, because indigo color, because I have used the styling here. Span 1 color is indigo. Okay, that is the reason instead of black you are seeing it in indigo color. Okay, that is because of the styling. Now did you understand how this works? Now let me refresh this again and reload it. Okay, and the moment I reload the page, then show answer, if I click on that, it will be correct answer is option 4, Barcelona. So did you understand, guys, how this will work?
Yes, sir.